Well, hello everybody, and welcome to another year of my NFL Weekly Review videos. And just like I have for each of the last 4 seasons, I'm going to continue to provide expert analysis as well as an unmatched level of humor, which is what all of you love so dearly. Without further ado, let's begin. Philadelphia versus Dallas. Before the game even started, the anti-Eagles deep state was in effect. They ejaculated Jalen Carter just because he spit on Dak Prescott's jersey because he was trying to clean up Dak's jersey because it was dirty, okay? He was being a good Samaritan, and that seriously handicapped the Eagles early on as the Cowboys jumped out to an early 7-0 lead on a 1-yard touchdown run. The Eagles still happened to employ Saquon Barkley, who was very good, and then Jalen Hurts had this very weird-looking tush-push. I mean, apparently he sucks at everything and can't do anything, but wow, he scored a touchdown in this play. And then this is just a real example of Dak Prescott's greatness, drawing an offensive pass interference penalty on 2nd and 23 to set up yet another short touchdown run. Again, the Seahawks would probably have like 10 rings right now if they knew how to do this. But Jalen Hurts, being the hero he is, did not even blink. Once again, continuing to run from very far distances out of the end zone to score touchdowns. It's almost like he's actually good at football. The Cowboys then nailed a 3, just like me in my senior year of college. But once again, Jalen Hurts, terrible quarterback, had this deep pass to Jahan Dotson, future Hall of Famer, which set up another Eagles touchdown by Saquon Barkley. So apparently it's not impressive now because it doesn't show up on Jalen Hurts' stat sheet. That's what I'm told, folks. The Cowboys then once again managed to squeeze in another field goal just before halftime, before the Eagles in the third quarter on their first drive matched that with another deep field goal to make it 24-20. And right as the Cowboys looked like they were driving to take the lead, double agent Miles Sanders fumbled the ball because his loyalty to the Eagles cannot be questioned. But unfortunately, we had a little bit of a lightning delay, as you can see in graphic detail here by this photo, which delayed the game for about an hour, but that only delayed the inevitable, which is that the Eagles were going to win. Neither team, after the lightning break, scored any points, and especially for the Cowboys, they couldn't even hold on to any catches, including CeeDee Lamb, who dropped 2 crucial passes. CeeDee Lamb? More like VHS Lamb, because he's out of date. And then, of course, Jalen Hurts, the Super Bowl MVP clutch future Hall of Famer, then sealed the game with a 3rd and 3 scramble. It's just so unfortunate that the Cowboys don't have any elite defensive linemen that could have possibly helped make Jalen Hurts' day a little bit tougher. The rest of the video continues right after this. Before I begin, I want to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's video, Factor. Factor is expanding their menu to make accomplishing your wellness goals even more exciting. You can enjoy more nutritious and balanced meal options tailored to a wider range of health goals so you can reach them with ease. Just because food is healthy doesn't mean it has to be bad tasting, and Factor has you covered there as well because they're adding more exciting flavors to the menu so you can enjoy nutritious meals without compromising on flavor. Eating clean is so easy thanks to Factor, and Factor also makes portion control easy with meals with just 350 to 550 calories per serving to help make weight loss stress-free. I've been sponsoring Factor now for several years, and I can tell you with 100% sincerity, these guys are the real deal. If you have not yet joined Factor or have given Factor a try, you are missing out big time. So what are you waiting for? Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code BARRYFB50 to get 50% off plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code BARRYFB50 at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free breakfast for 1 year. LA Chargers versus Kansas City. The Chargers struck first when Madison Beers' new squeeze threw a touchdown to Quentin Johnston, future Hall of Famer, while the Chiefs' offense picked up right where they left off from the Super Bowl last year, looking like complete dog shit, especially after Travis Kelce murdered Xavier Worthy on a screen. The dead batteries would then take a 10-0 lead on a field goal before the Chiefs finally got on the board with a field goal of their own, and the Chargers said, "Fuck you, bitch, we can do this all day if you want," and kicked another field goal to go up 13-3. And then finally, Mahomes started to look like an actual NFL quarterback, setting up a deep field goal, which Harrison Butker made because Harrison Butker is a man of integrity. In the second half, the Chiefs' offense finally started to look like the old Chiefs' offense, and Mahomes ran for a score to make it 13-3. Oh, wait a minute, no. Harrison Butker, once again going too far to the right, missed the extra point. And the Chargers didn't miss a beat. Even though Justin Herbert had a dime that was dropped, on the very next play, he said, "You know what? I'm going to throw a fucking touchdown to Keenan Allen, old reliable, who's back with the Chargers once again to go up by 8. On the Chiefs' next drive, Andy Reid made an incredible play call here by telling Mahomes to throw this pass horizontally in the air for a first down. Just incredible. And then a few plays later, Mahomes found Travis Swift for a long touchdown, but the 2-point conversion was no good, leaving the Chiefs down by 2 early in the fourth. But Justin Herbert had one of those games where he finally played up to his potential and led the Chargers to another touchdown drive to put them up 2 possessions, but Mahomes was not dead yet. On 4th and 7, he showed his supernatural powers by throwing a 50-yard pass, but the Chiefs had to settle for a field goal and hope that their defense would get them the ball back, and that is not what happened. Even though they had the Chargers set up on 3rd and 14, Herbert used his sneaky athleticism to gain a first down to seal the win for the Chargers. The Chiefs dynasty is over. We're in the Eagles era now, motherfuckers. Arizona versus New Orleans. This game between Kyler Murray and Spencer Rattler started about how you would expect. There weren't many fireworks, no offense to Jason Pierre-Paul early on, until Alvin and the Chipmunks Kamara ran for a score to give the Saints a 7-3 lead, but that lead was short-lived, much like an aborted fetus, as Murray found Marvin Harrison Jr. on a deep throw and then a quick touchdown pass to go up 10-7. The Saints would then tie the game at 10-10, but once again the Cardinals answered back with a touchdown of their own when 4'7" Kyler threw the ball to James Conner underhand for a touchdown to go up 17-10. And spoiler alert, that is a lead the Cardinals would never relinquish. They would expand the lead to 10 with a field goal, and it looked like the Saints might cut it to 7 late in the third, but their kicker was being a stupid little asshole and he missed it. But then the Cardinals kicker said, "Don't feel too bad. I'm going to let this kick get blocked so you feel better." That's what sportsmanship is all about. Neither way, so the Saints eventually made a field goal to cut it to 7, and they eventually got the ball back with a chance to win or tie, and Spencer Rattler had the greatest throw of his life on 3rd and 10, but it was dropped, and then he immediately followed that with the worst throw of his life on 4th and 10 to seal the loss. More like Spencer Crappler. Pittsburgh versus the Jets. Oh, it's going to be so boring. A bunch of defense and a bunch of field goals. Everything sucked is what I would be saying if I didn't actually see this game for myself. A lot of people wondering who Aaron Rodgers got married to this offseason. He got married to the game. But perhaps the bigger surprise in this game was the fact that Justin Fields actually looked like a good NFL quarterback, throwing an absolute beautiful touchdown to give the Jets an early lead. But their 2-point conversion was no good, and then Pittsburgh made a 97-yard field goal, approximately, to go up 10-9. The Jets offense, though, came roaring back as Justin Brady threw a screen pass, and then Breece Hall punched it in, no offense to Ray Rice, for a touchdown to give the Jets a 16-10 lead. The Jets got a stop and then expanded that lead to 19-10 with a field goal set up by more good plays from Justin Fields. But then somebody said to Aaron Rodgers, "You're a 4-time MVP, start playing like it, bitch." And that's exactly what he did, dropping some dimes left and right, and then completing the most difficult touchdown pass of his career to Jonnu Smith to make it 19-17 just before halftime. After a mostly nondescript beginning to the third quarter, the Jets finally struck back again on a quarterback sneak touchdown to go up 26-17. But Joe Rogan experienced veteran Aaron Rodgers would not stop as he threw another touchdown pass early in the fourth to make it 26-24. And then the Jets were the Jets. They fumbled the kickoff, and then within a span of literally 50 seconds, Rodgers threw another touchdown to give the Steelers a 31-26 lead. But Justin Fields was unfazed as he scored a quarterback sneak touchdown run, Peyton Manning style. I mean, good lord, TJ Watt just took the cheese on that one to give the Jets a 1-point lead, but their 2-point conversion was no good. The two offenses exchanged punts, which gave Rodgers a chance to finally put away his former team, and he made a couple nice throws, including a lucky catch by DK Metcalf, which set up a 60-yard field goal by Chris Boswell, and you can bet your cute ass that the Wizard of Boz came through. But the Steelers needed one more defensive stop, and they got it when Jalen Ramsey sadly murdered Garrett Wilson on 4th and 3 to seal the win for the future 10-7 Pittsburgh Steelers. Cincinnati versus Cleveland. The Bengals, unsurprisingly, struck first to go up 7-0, while the Browns offense struggled early on before finding their way on a touchdown run to tie the game at 7-7. For the most part, this was a pretty boring game. Everybody's favorite metrosexual, Joe Burrow, threw a touchdown to go up 14-7, and then the Browns kicked a field goal to make it 14-10 going into halftime. game. The second half once again started very slow. No offense to special ed students. For the Browns, scored a touchdown to go up 16-14, but Joe Burrow's swag forced the Browns to miss their extra point, which would come in handy later. After a Joe Flacco interception, which set up a short field for Burr, the Bengals kicked a field goal to go up 17-16, entering the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter, we were treated to a historical display of ass from both teams. In fact, on one Bengals drive, Joe Burrow happened to get sacked 3 plays in a row, which actually takes some sort of talent. God, if this was happening to Jalen Hurts, he would get absolutely roasted. Despite numerous chances, though, for the Browns to win the game, they remembered that they are the Browns and that they are never able to give their fans anything positive, as they missed a 36-yard field goal attempt, but they would get the ball back again, and yet again they found another way to break their fans' hearts as Flacco threw his second interception of the day off of a drop pass, which sealed this extremely forgettable but typical September Bengals 17-16 win. Las Vegas versus New England. Right away, we see the duality of Geno Smith. A beautiful long touchdown pass and then a beautiful long interception, which I don't really dock him for because he threw it downfield like a man, and that's what's really important. Drake May was also throwing downfield as well. I haven't seen a Patriots quarterback rip the ball like this since Drew Bledsoe. And guess what? After one quarter, we were tied at 7-7, and the Patriots offense was doing pretty well until they missed a 40-yard field goal. Adam Vinatieri, you are not, sir. But the Patriots offense kept coming back while the Raiders offense stagnated, and eventually the Patriots took a 10-7 lead. The Raiders tried to respond with a long field goal, but their kicker was a girly man and missed it. That's when the problems started to arise for the Patriots offense. Drake May threw an interception, although it was a manly interception, so respect. And then Geno Smith got going, which led to Ashton Genty's first NFL touchdown run to give the Raiders a 14-10 lead. And then things got ugly. I mean, look at this shit. This is embarrassing. This is disgusting. And guess what? That's right. Josh McDaniels is involved once again. Finally, Brock Austin Bowers saved the day and helped get some points on the board to give the Raiders a 17-10 lead going into the fourth quarter. Geno Mahomes then showed up making crazy passes, leading to another field goal for the Raiders to give them a 2-score lead, and the Patriots would never get closer, although they would kick a field goal with 19 seconds left. A very sad, worthless field goal. Unfortunately for the Patriots, there was no tuck rule this time to bail them out against the Raiders. Indianapolis Colts versus the Gay Sharks. Started out looking like more of the same for Daniel Jones, but oh boy, would we all be in for a surprise. Here's Tua throwing the ball deep. I must show off my arm strength, but only to the other team. And then Daniel Jones said, this is how you do it, Tua, throwing a nice pass which gave the Colts a 10-0 lead. Tua then fumbled the ball because he got tiny little hands, and that led to another Colts touchdown to give them a 17-10 lead. And then things just kept getting worse and worse for the Dolphins. It was very, very bad. The score was 20-0 at halftime in favor of the Colts. And guess what? It didn't get any better for the Dolphins or Mike McDaniel or both former and future Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Tyreek Hill. Daniel Jones had really the best game of his career. The Colts scored on every single offensive possession in the game, not joking. As you can see here, the glare on the field is actually a reflection from one of Jim Irsay's plates that he used to snort cocaine off of. Rest in peace, Jim Irsay. The Colts were absolutely motivated to win this game for him. It wasn't until the game was 30-0 that the Dolphins finally looked like an NFL team, scoring a touchdown and two-point conversion to make it 30-8, but that's basically the equivalent of Chris Paul making a basket down 40. The Chiefs kicked one final field goal, and that was it. 33-8 is the final score. Washington versus New Jersey. If you thought the Commanders were just going to walk all over the Giants in this season opener, then you're basically correct. Jaden Daniels started out the game on fire, throwing for a touchdown, and little did we know that was all they needed to win the game. Shocker. Russell Wilson continued to look washed up in this one. It's very sad, almost like watching a dog that is 12 or 13 years old and is dying and peeing all over the floor, and you have to put it down. Basically, that's Russell Wilson at this point. But Jaden Daniels isn't old or sick or anything like that, and the Commanders took a 14-3 lead late in the first half. It could have been even more, but Washington was feeling sorry for the Giants, and they decided not to score any points on the goal line. Somehow, this became a one-score game with the Giants having the ball early in the fourth quarter. That's not a very good sign if you're a Washington fan. But then, midway through the fourth quarter, Deebo Samuel became the first player in NFL history to score a touchdown with a BBL. That is unbelievable. This is groundbreaking, possibly more groundbreaking than Jackie Robinson. Russell Wilson almost got the Giants into the end zone, but we all know that didn't happen. I give it 2 more games until Jackson Fart is put in as the starting quarterback for the Giants. Tampa Bay versus Atlanta. The game began with Tom Penix Jr. finding Bijan Mustard Robinson on a 50-yard bullet to give the Falcons a 7-0 lead. The game then slowed down a little bit to become a bit of a defensive battle, which is shocking considering the 2 history of these teams. The Bucs would cut it to 7-3, get a defensive stop, and then score a touchdown on a beautiful throw from Baker Mayfield to Emeka Ibuka, right? Ibuka? Okay, got it, thanks. More on him later. The Falcons would then kick a field goal to tie the game at 10 going into halftime, and then Baker started to wake up, but his kicker sold him down the river by missing a 44-yard field goal attempt, but his special teams would pick up the slack, setting up a super short field, which led to the former college walk-on throwing a touchdown pass to Bucky Irving. How about that? Bucky Irving, what a name. The Falcons wouldn't respond with a touchdown, but they would respond with a field goal that bounced off the uprights, but in to make it 17-13. Michael Penix got the ball back late, and as he's done already multiple times in his short career, he gave the Falcons a late lead. This is how you extend your Penix, folks, if you really want to score, trust me. But they left too much time on the clock for Baker Mayfield, as he found Emeka Ibuka on an amazing go-ahead touchdown pass, but the kicker, being an asshole, missed the extra point, giving the Falcons enough time to potentially kick a field goal to tie the game, and they almost won the game, if not for potentially a hit by Antoine Winfield, setting up Young Wei Koo, and he missed the field goal, which sealed the win for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. When it comes to getting burned by young hoes, the Falcons and Shannon Sharp are exactly the same. The Jaguars versus the Panthers. Holy crap, look at Trevor Lawrence throwing to Travis Hunter. Isn't that so cool? Anyway, this game was about as bad as you would think, and about as boring as you would think. Although it did start out competitive, it started to get really uncompetitive right around when Bryce Young started throwing interceptions again, because Bryce Young is fucking dog shit, like I've tried to tell all of you all the time. But oh no, you're just being a hater, Barry. You're just a hater. Oh yeah, well then look at his fucking numbers, and look at the Panthers consistently getting their asses kicked every single time. Look at him throw the fucking pass out of the end zone on 4th and 1. Wow, what a stud he is. He's so bad that he made me forget about Trevor Lawrence being average once again. This really wasn't even a great test for the Jaguars, because they weren't even really playing against an NFL team. So congrats to Liam Cohen, I guess. Is he one of the Cohen brothers? I love their movies. Great movie maker, still undeclared or undecided as a head coach how good he is. San Francisco versus Seattle. Brock Purdy came out on fire. Not really. If he actually was on fire, he would be dead right now. But you understand what I'm saying. He ended up throwing a touchdown to Greg Kittle, and then the Seahawks would eventually respond with the first touchdown of the Sam Darnold era to make it 7-7, and then the game kinda died down a lot. A lot of defensive stops, sloppy quarterback play, including bad kicker play by Jake Moody. I know Jake Moody is not the most famous among the 49ers faithful, but thankfully, I guess for both teams in this game, neither offense really had it going, particularly in the second half when Brock Purdy started throwing interceptions, but Sam Darnold couldn't capitalize, and the 49ers had their second missed field goal of the day, which kept it a 10-7 score. But then fortunes turned around in the fourth quarter when Jackson Smith and Jigba, I don't want to say that word too many times, remembered that Kyle Shanahan was paying him under the table, so he fumbled the ball, which finally set up a successful field goal attempt by Moody Blues to make it 10-10. That's what your mom is, a 10 out of 10. I get it. But Purdy would continue to throw interceptions, although this one was a deep interception, so he kind of deserves respect for throwing the ball deep and not being a bitch throwing checkdowns like Tom Brady. Anyway, the Seahawks would take a lead on a field goal with 3.5 minutes left, and Brock Purdy said, "Hold my nuts, bitch. I'm going to go to Ricky Pearsall on a shot play," which is very ironically named, particularly for this player. And then Purdy got his ass bailed out on this touchdown catch by some guy named Tongue. I don't know. Then Sam Darnold's third overall pick demon showed up by throwing a laser downfield, and it looked like Seattle was going to find a way to sneak out with a win. And then Sam Darnold strip-sacked himself. That's right, folks. He strip-sacked himself for the game-losing fumble with Xerxes in attendance. Green Bay versus Detroit. Jordan Love came out slinging the ball all over the field, including for a great touchdown pass, and his overall play led to the Packers having an early 10-0 lead. Jared Goff would not have his sharpest day. Although the Lions would make it 10-3, this game was never really particularly close. The Packers dominated from start to finish. Jordan Love had a great touchdown touchdown pass again to make it 17-3. Jared Goff, really, the game ended when he threw this terrible red zone interception. The Lions kicked a meaningless field goal. Goff got sacked again because he is a very, very immobile boy. Running the ball on 3rd and 16 from your 2-yard line. Very unaggressive, Dan Campbell. No surprise it led to yet another touchdown for the Packers. Goff getting sacked more often. The only real memorable play from this game, ironically, besides Micah Parsons hunting down Jared Goff like he's a naked teammate in the locker room, was this one-handed catch by some guy named Tesla to make the final score a little bit more respectable. But this was a very good performance by the Packers. They once again look ready to lose in January. Houston versus the Rams. This was a really just disgusting, underwhelming game. Very few points. CJ Stroud was looking a lot like his sophomore year. I'd be very concerned if I was a Texans fan. Matthew Stafford still had some big throws. He passed 60,000 career passing yards in this game. I still don't know if he's a Hall of Famer or not. I would lean no. But either way, this was a game that was 9-7 at halftime in favor of the Texans, and then Stafford was like, I'm going to start dropping my nuts all over you, even though I have a bad back. He took so many back shots in the locker room. Spoiler alert, the Texans scored 0 points in the second half. But despite that, they still had a great opportunity to win at the very end of the game, and the receiver fucked CJ Stroud over. I mean, come on, how can you not feel like the biggest douchebag in the world after you fumble that? That's just, he should be cut right now. And of course, Stafford ends the game by disrespecting the flag. This is, I am so angry right now. Denver versus Tennessee. This was just a very sloppy and ugly, forgettable game. The only reason it's memorable is because it's the debut of first overall pick Cam Ward, but Bo Nix was also very bad. Cam Ward struggled as well. Really, everybody in this game struggled for the most part. I can't, like, trying to make highlights for this, I'm looking at it, I'm like, God damn, there's so many sacks and interceptions and field goals. It just was really just awful. Neither team really deserved to win this game, but I'll tell you, the key moment was in the fourth quarter when the Broncos muffed a punt and the Titans had the ball deep in Broncos territory, and somehow Cam Ward pulled a Super Bowl 51 Matt Ryan, and he got sacked twice. The Titans put themselves out of field goal range, and then on the very next drive, the Broncos finally responded with a touchdown to go up by 8, and the Broncos just absolutely refused to put this game away. For some reason, on 4th and 8 from the 36 with a minute left and the Titans having no timeouts, they decided to throw the ball up in the air, and which gave the Titans a great chance to go down the field, which they didn't do because they're the Titans and they suck. And then the game ended with Cam Ward not seeing a blitz and getting sacked again. Lesbian runner. By the way, Bo Nix is going to be 26 in February. 26, dude. Baltimore versus Buffalo. Game of the year. Now, to be fair, there's only been 16 games thus far, but still, this was the best game of the week. The Bills went up early on a Josh Allen laser. The Ravens responded with a field goal by not Justin Tucker, massage therapist expert. For a while, this game belonged not to the quarterbacks, but to Derrick Henry, who was dominant for most of the game, giving the Ravens a 10-7 lead, and then helping set up a Lamar touchdown run, which gave the Ravens a 17-7 lead. The teams then exchanged field goals in the last couple of minutes of the first half, including a very important field goal on the final second of the first half, which again would come in very handy later for the Bills of Buffalo. But it didn't look like it would matter for a long time as the Ravens came out on fire in the second half, scoring a touchdown to go up by 14. The Bills would answer with a touchdown run, but they missed their 2-point conversion to make it an 8-point game. The Ravens capitalized. They looked like an unstoppable juggernaut. DeAndre Hopkins, hotel room respecter, had a great one-handed catch, put the Ravens up by 15.
Oh my God. He's shit everywhere. There's shit everywhere! Damn it! There's shit on the windows! Oh my God! My house is full of shit! He's shit everywhere! Look what he did! He shit all over the wall!
The Bills responded with a touchdown of their own, but again, they missed the 2-point conversion, so it's a 2-possession game, and then Derrick Henry, once again, after a great run by Lamar Jackson, topped that with a long-ass touchdown run to make it 40-25 after the Ravens missed the extra point, which would have made it a 16-point game. Again, these missed extra points and these field goals given up, they all add up at the end, but still, nobody, even after Josh Allen had this fluky-ass tipped touchdown catch, thought the Bills were going to win. But then, with 3 minutes left, Derrick Henry fumbled the ball after a magical night, and the Bills went right down the field and scored a touchdown on a Josh Allen sneak, but they missed the 2-point conversion, so they were not out of the woods yet. And yet still on 3rd and 9, the Ravens gained 8 yards, ball around midfield, and they did not go for it, instead letting the Bills get inside their 15-yard line and not letting them score. So guess what? The Bills just ran the clock all the way down and kicked the game-winning field goal as time expired to win 41-40. Minnesota versus Chicago. The game started off with J.J. McCarthy looking like complete crap and Caleb Williams looking like he took the second-year leap that everybody was waiting for. He ran for a touchdown to give the Bears a 7-0 lead. J.J. McCarthy, I can do a somersault. Yeah, nobody cares, asshole. The Vikings kicked a field goal, but the Bears all game long, despite the Vikings' ineptitude offensively for most of the game, could not create separation, as the Bears would carry a 10-6 lead into halftime and then expand that lead to 17-6 when J.J. McCarthy threw his first NFL touchdown pass. Unfortunately, it was to the other team, which gave the Bears an 11-point lead, but still plenty of time for them to mess up, which is what they did. They couldn't get any more points on the board. They missed field goals, and then, unexplainably, J.J. McCarthy suddenly became the best quarterback in the league in the fourth quarter, throwing bullets, while Caleb Williams regressed back to his bad rookie season habits. I seriously don't know what the hell just happened in this game. It really was just a complete dumbfounding transformation. Swear to fucking God, if I have to go through another 20 years of watching a Michigan quarterback who sucks for 3 quarters and then turns into a god in the fourth quarter and takes away all the credit and praise from his teammates for digging himself out of a hole that he largely created, I am going to lose it. I'm going to be so fucking pissed. And that's exactly what this game was. Now, again, it's only one game, but J.J. McCarthy could have gone in the tank after that pick 6 and the bad first 3 quarters, but he actually impressed me, unironically. And he really gave social media a big fuck you after they were shitting on him for most of the game. As for the Bears, well, when your fans are clamoring for Tyson Bagent, it's time to nuke the entire franchise.